Welcome back to Lenz's Comic Corner, classic slash non-classic. This is episode number 1046, episode number 940. I got two volumes of the Fantastic Four. And yet, in case you're wondering which run is it from, Dan Slott. Yes, the run that was resumed last year. Yep. Now before I get started with this thing, I have to mention this, okay? That when this series was announced to resume publishing last year, everybody was so happy because people really wanted Fantastic Four to return. We waited 3 years for this damn book to return. What do we have in the meantime for the characters? Well, Reed and Sue are off in space with the Future Foundation. Where does that leave Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm? Ben Grimm appeared in the Guardians of the Galaxy series for like a little over a year. Actually, it was like a little over a year. Then he left, and then he got moved over to the I believe it was the infamous Iron Man series, and then he got moved over to the Marvel 2-1 series once infamous Iron Man got canceled. And only 12 issues, which I still think was kind of bullcrap. The series ended. Mm-hmm. But where does that leave Johnny Storm? He was moved over to Uncanny Inhumans and, believe it or not, the Uncanny Avengers, which makes him, prior to him joining the Uncanny Avengers, the only founding member of Fantastic Four who has never been an Avenger. Mm-hmm. Yep. And he was part of those books for the entirety of both runs. Until, well, in the case of Inhumans, his run with that book ended with Humans vs. X-Men, which is also the end of that particular series. And then he and Ben Grimm got moved up with Marvel 2-1 for a little while. This is a book written by Chip Sardesky. Fantastic book, highly recommended. And then finally, we get the series to come back. Finally, first time in 3 years. Let's first start with the first trade, Fourever. That's pretty much what the book is called. This contains the first 4 issues of this volume. It's written by Dan Slott, art by Sarah Pichelli. Great choice. Love this artist. She's fantastic as an artist. The artwork here is done by... It's not done by Sarah Pichelli. The cover art here, I believe it's done by Simon... Doesn't say, actually. Which is kind of weird. Yeah, for some reason they don't have it in here mentioned who does the cover art. I think this is supposed to be... Well, I can tell, but look at the cover. It looks like it's the same artist who did the original Secret Wars book. That's what it looks like to me. It looks like the same artist. Mm-hmm. The whole point of these 4 issues, it's the return of Reed Richards and Sue Storm and the Future Foundation. It's about frickin' time. I mean, yes, they did have a return of Valerie and Franklin Richards in Marvel Legacy #1, which came out a year prior to this. People waited over a year. Now, the reason why, there was a couple reasons why I heard why the book was originally canceled back in 2015. One, because it was one of Marvel's lowest selling titles, which I'm like, how the heck is that possible? It's the first family of Marvel Comics. How is this one of the lowest selling comic books? The other reason, this of course is confirmed by Hickman, because of Marvel's blood feud with Fox. That was the reason the book was canceled in the first place back in 2015. Now the book is back. So in this storyline, basically, in the first issue, Ben Grimm, have a happy day, proposes to Alicia Masters. Yes, thank you. Now, they were kind of briefly engaged back in the 60s, but it went nowhere. Mm-hmm. But then, he go visit Johnny Storm, asking his best man. He's like, no, I am not the person you best man. You should be Reed Richards. It's like, man, Reed's gone. What can you do? And then we see possibly Return to Fantastic Four. Turns out basically was false alarm because some kids stole a signal flare. Yeah, that was something they actually had. Aside from Johnny Storm basically forming the giant 4 in the sky, the only way Fantastic Four could basically have them all summoned together was a signal flare, which formed into a gigantic 4. These kids are basically fans of Fantastic Four, and these kids are from Yankee Street, the same street that Ben Grimm is from. Mm-hmm. And eventually the first issue ends with them being teleported up to space, along with a boatload of superheroes, which include Medusa, the Hulk, Black Panther, basically anybody who's on the back cover. Yeah, they showed up there. Spider-Man not surprised because Spider-Man's been heavily associated with the Fantastic Four since his debut. Well, since his early years, anyways. So they fight some alien threat that's threatening the Fantastic Four. Eventually go back to Earth, and they find out they're replaced by this new group. Yeah, Alicia Matches is kind of mad at Ben for leaving on a rooftop for like the whole day, but that's not exactly his fault. Nope. Of course, there's also like Valerie hooking up with the alien prince, which which Reed is not particularly too happy with that. And then we see the debut of these guys, the Fantastic X. Yeah, which are just another version of the Fantastic Four, where you have a guy who's black, who's basically, well, and you have a version of the thing who's basically kind of like Iceman. And these guys are headquartered out the Baxter Building. Yep. And they have a fight right in front of the Baxter Building. Yeah. And basically, when they come back in the final issue after the whole thing with the other, like, Avengers, with the whole alien thing. Like, oh crap. Like, have we replaced? Yeah, and then they have a brief scuffle with them, along with fighting the frickin' wrecking crew. And it turns out their spokesman named Brenda, yeah, she was later fired by them. And of course, Valerie steps is like, prepare. It's like, oh, Valerie's smart. Byron, hi. Val Richards. Excuse me, we're on the air. Yep, in front of a big cheering crowd, too. Everybody's watching this. So I gotta ask, news guy, what do you think is bigger story here? The launch of the new team of knockoffs or the return of the world famous Fantastic Four? It's actually a good point. You think give me that? Hey Wrecker, this is Brainstorm of the Fantastic Four. I don't know what you think the Fantastic are paying you, but the FF is loaded. We'll double it. Like deal. Stand out. What? For real? Yeah. Turns out this whole thing was a publicity stunt, and then when Brenda got fired. Yep. Yeah. Good thing Valerie is the daughter of the world's smartest man. Yep. Which I thought was so funny. And plus, there's a backup story. Issue 1 sets up the next part of the next story arc, which has Doctor Doom resuming his role as Doctor Doom. Now, in case you're curious, though, is Dan Slott responsible for this? The answer is no. He is not responsible for this at all. He had nothing to do with this. Yes, well, from what I can tell, anyways, this was done by Brian Michael Bendis of all people. Yes. On Bendis' way out the door, he turned Doctor Doom back to a villain. Yep. Well, basically have him ditch the Doctor Doom Iron Man armor and give back his frickin' scars, and he's go back to Latveria again. And in case you're wondering who gave him back his handsome face after Secret Wars, well, that was Hickman who did that. Yes, Hickman did that. My only guess is the reason why. There's a couple reasons why I think why Doctor Doom was turning villain again. One, Fantastic Four titles coming back and it needs Doctor Doom again. And two, probably Marvel wanted to basically make Hickman mad. I don't know. It's the only second way I can think of where they actually do something that another writer basically set up. But this book is fantastic. Sets up the wedding of the Thing and Bang and Alicia Masters so well. This book a 9.5 out of 10 is a really good start for this particular run. Next, the book you probably think is really short because there's only a couple books in here. Because you have the Fantastic Four Wedding Special, actually about 3 issues in here. Fantastic Four Wedding Special, Fantastic Four Volume 6, number 5, and Fantastic Four number 8 from the 60s. Now, yes, this wedding does happen. One of 3 weddings that was announced last year. But here's the thing. This is the only one that actually went through. They're ready to get cold feet and actually have a last minute change or switcheroo. Yes, the 3 weddings that happened last year. The two that were supposed to happen as one. Batman and Catwoman, and the other one was going to be Colossus and Kitty Pryde. Before the writer said switch, like, nope, we're not having these two get married. We're having Rogue Gambit get married instead. Yep. But at least that when this book was, I remember when the issue was advertised, that yes, this is not an illusion. We're actually going to do it. We're actually going to put this wedding through. We're going to have these two get married, and it's about frickin' time. Of course, as a reference, when Johnny Storm married Leech Masters back in the 80s before it was out as a frickin' scrawl. Yep. The wedding special. Now, basically, we have the wedding special, which is basically 3 different stories. Yep. One story by Dan Slott, the other 2 were by Gail Simone and Fred Hembrook. The artwork for this issue is, of course, also by Fred Hembrook. The other artists are Mark Farmer, Mark Buckingham, and Laura Braga. Issue 5, which has 3 stories in it as well, is the artwork is written by Dan Slott. Artwork by first story is done by Aaron Cooter. Second story, Mike and Laura Aldred, and last one's done by Adam Hughes. The cover here is done by Alas Rabick. The wedding special, Invisible Girl Goes Wild. Yeah, it's pretty much Alicia Masters' Bachelorette Party. That's pretty much what it is, with the appearance by the Mole Man. That's what it is. Father figure. Yes. And plus, I love the fact we have a human who's a friend of Alicia Masters, and Sue actually approves of her. Despite the fact that she's got tattoos, she's got no problem with her at all. Nope. It's like, hey, you want to make friends? Fine. Yep. It's overall a really fun little story. Though, where did they have the bachelor party? At a strip club. Yeah, with male strippers. But, yeah, who are basically attended the party? Why, it's, besides Alicia and the Invisible Woman, and this Inhuman woman, I don't remember her name, we also have She-Hulk and Crystal and Medusa. We even have their frickin' mailman, Wallace Limpkin. Yeah, the mailman they actually used to have who came to the Bax building like every month, like every time. Oh yeah, and basically Mole Man gives Alicia Masters a wedding present. Because even he is not against like marriage, despite the fact that he doesn't like what he did with this what Keller did. Yeah. Oh, get this. What was his wedding present? What did he give Alicia Masters as a wedding present? Diamonds! Freaking diamonds! Like, wow. He does live in the Earth's core, so why the heck not? And of course we have Limkin basically. Yeah, going on a date with a woman he loves. Absolutely fun. The second story is basically, well, the Thing asks about Master's blessing for marrying Alicia Masters. Yeah, and it turns out that, and this is, I don't think this ever brought up though, that this is all done by Alicia Masters. So basically, even though he agreed, it turns out he was manipulated to agree to his wedding because apparently she uses one of his little cosmic things. And then basically she puts the little figure in the jar and goes on the shelf, and I don't think this will be brought up after this. Then we have a little fun little story of just Hut Master it's just the third story in this wedding special, just of Hut Master just doing puppets. That's it. The wedding issue. Yes, the wedding issue. Which, by the way, Spider-Man is not invited to his wedding for some reason, despite the fact he's an old friend of the Richards. Yep. We also have briefly done. I love the fact that Mike Aldred, like, apparently, first we have the various things happening. Oh yeah, and Fantastic Four has moved into this apartment building, which is owned by Reed Richards, and this had become like Doctor Who, basically bigger on the inside than the outside. Okay, fine. And he took time to grow himself a full beard. Yes, Reed Richards. So basically, and all of a sudden we have Reed Richards' phone ring, and it's Ben. It's like basically build a robot. So it's like, no, I'll handle this. What is his emergency? He needs to be taught how to dance by Sue Storm. Okay, pretty smart move. And this is when Changing Partners comes in, where you have the artwork done by Mike Aldred. This is, of course, really good artwork. I love this thing. Originally, when I first saw this guy's artwork, I didn't like it at all. Over time, I've grown to like this artwork. Yep. And yeah, Sue teaches him how to dance, which is really good. And plus we have sort of a retelling of the classic origin story of Fantastic Four here. They also told it in this trade as well, which I got praise slot for actually. Despite the fact a lot of people probably did know about the origin story of Fantastic Four, but there might be some people who might not know the origins of Fantastic Four. And plus, you can at least my praise Ultra for this, doing an accurate recreation. Like, it seems like he just took the idea of how Kirby basically sort of redesigned, give his own look for Kirby's designs in the 60s, and basically just redesigned the classic origin story, which is really good. I mean, it's not exactly copy and paste, but it's him redrawing that origin story with basically with different art style. It is, of course, really good. Also, a recap of basically when Ben first met Sue, though that's actually also told in the issue it's publishing here. Yep. And then we have back to regular artwork preparing for the wedding. Yeah, and apparently they're there to take blood samples just to make sure it's like, okay, marriage license? Nope, it's just to make sure they're not freaking skulls or duplicates. Because at least got praised the fact Slott did his homework. Because basically, when Johnny married Alicia Masters, that was back in Fantastic Four 300 with Ben Grimm serve as the best man. And that Alicia Masters will be a scroll. So everybody was like, yeah, I'm not falling for the same thing twice. So yeah, great the fact that is. And the fact that apparently, get this, even though Reed Richards is the best man, he the planned Bachelor Party. That was all pretty much like, the planning of the Bachelor Party was planned by Johnny Storm because, well, even though Reed is the best man, it's like, okay, Johnny Storm is better at planning something like that than he is. And who are the attendees? We have Aquarius. I believe this is Justice. D-Man. Spider-Man. Thundere, who was briefly a girlfriend of one of Ben Grimm's many, many girlfriends over the years. I mean, I appreciate Spider-Man here because that makes sense because it was associated with the Fantastic Four. And where do they go? UCW. Yeah, the wrestling organization he briefly worked for back in the 80s. Yep, because why the heck not? And he basically suffers a pulled groin. It's like, okay, yeah, it'd be perfectly fine. Yeah, he pulled a groin during his actual match. And then basically we have another party where apparently the Serpent Society was hiding a cake. Okay, the Serpent Society, okay. Why not? Yeah, I love Adam Hughes' artwork. It's really, really good. I love it. Yep. And plus then we have Thundere playing strip poker with Thor, the Thing. I think it's supposed to be Doctor Strange and like a few others. I love this. Yeah, love the fact they're playing strip poker. And then, like, okay, this is so funny. Apparently, all the guys lost their clothes, and Thundere is wearing the outfits. It's so funny. I love it. It's so funny the fact that all the guys pretty much are in their underwear because they lost everything to Thundere because she's better poker player than they are, and all the guys, except for like two of them, have got cigars in their mouths. Even Thundere's got a cigar in her mouth, which I thought that was so funny. And eventually they gave back all the clothes because why not? Of course, Johnny Storm invites Herbie as +1 at his wedding. Yeah, and then the fight breaks out, and it says, and I just cleaned up the snake. Okay, here, bill to Tony Stark. I'll give him the receipt as a wedding present. Okay, it's so funny. I'm curious. Yeah, good night. Yeah, it's a good fight with him. It's so funny. Then we have the day of the wedding. We have Petunia. Yes, Ben Grimm's aunt. This woman here. As far as this is the first time I've seen her, because I don't remember her show up in your comic book, but yeah, this is his actual Aunt Petunia, who he frequently references as quotes over the years. There's a my Aunt Petunia, whatever, and yeah, and I thought it was so hilarious when they met up when she met up with Ben Grimm, her nephew. Yeah, she doesn't mind the fact he's an orange rock monster because he's got a heart of gold, and his uncle's got no problem with Alicia Masters. And despite the fact Reed's working on an experiment because he usually is, and like they're going to like the middle of nowhere, and so Ben's uncle is basically the one handing off Alicia Masters at their wedding, which okay, fine, and I love Reed's lie here. You are a lucky man, Benjamin J. Grimm. You know what, pal? After all this I've had in my life, whatever it took me to get to the exact spot, won't change a thing. Wedding goes up perfectly fine until Doctor Doom shows up. Yep, it says, people face imminent, people of Earth, heed my warning, face my imminent destruction. Think of challenge, behold, yeah, Galactus is show up in frickin' Latveria. Okay, fine. When the heck he got here, I have no idea. It's like shenanigans. Like, yeah, wait, we gotta make sure about this. So Reed, smart man he is, basically freezes everybody inside a portal just so they can pretty much finish the ceremony so they go fight Doctor Doom. Smart idea. Okay, Rabbi, if you don't mind, we're really on the clock. Like, okay. Oh, of course. We're at the vows. Benjamin, if you do blind, please. So they exchange their vows. Agreeing, and of course, and he says, "That is my pleasure, before your family and friends, to welcome you both to the greatest adventure." Well, Benji, what are you waiting for? Kiss already! Yep. Great moment. And then it's like, okay, everyone's like, what the heck just happened? Yep. And then they go off and... and the Fantastic will go off to fight Doc Doom, and basically Reed and Suits gets asked to keep their Aunt Alicia safe. So it's like, okay, sorry baby, duty calls. When I get back, Mrs. Grimm, we're gonna have the best honeymoon ever. I'm gonna hold you that, Mr. Grimm. More importantly, something I want you to do. We go over to what? Clobber them. You got it. Oh, you got it, sweetie. Well, you heard the business. Okay, fine. And then we have the first meeting of Ben Grimm and Alicia Masters from this very issue here. And that's the trade itself. This is very well done. And this is only the second wedding that Dan Slott has ever done in Marvel Comics. The first one I can think of he ever did was May Parker and J. Jonah Jameson Sr. That was the first one he did. This is technically the second wedding he's ever done. When he did the wedding of that first wedding, they were together for roughly 8 years before he died. Yeah, he died because of a virus leading up to Clone Conspiracy. Okay? But this is something I think Slott has pretty much... Even he realized, though, keeping Ben Grimm single was basically a terrible idea. That was not the first thing I accepted the wedding for him, because he was going to briefly her attention and he left her at the altar. He got cold feet. Yeah, it happened in Fantastic Four Annual, but at least his wedding actually went through, because this is probably something Slott did want to do for some time. And I love the fact that he actually did this. Love the lines in this book, and I love all the storytelling. It's fantastic. Oh boy. The story goes dark with the next storyline because of the crazy stuff Doc Doom does to Fantastic Four. A lot worse stuff he's ever done to Fantastic Four. I mean, he hasn't been this bad to Fantastic Four at all, because it gets darker after this. We got the nice hope stuff, and we get dark with next story arc. But I'm a little surprised, though. They only just throw in like 3 issues in here. I would have thought it would be longer for this one. This one called Mr. and Mrs. Grimm. I would have thought this would be longer, but no, it's only just about 3 issues. I'm like, wow, that's pretty short. But the only reason why it's still the same length as the first line, because the wedding special is really long. Yep, so yeah, that's it for this particular review. I have roughly 2 more videos I'm hoping to do today. One, of course, review news dub episode release for Dragon Ball Super, and of course, another powerful card Sakura, okay? But those 2 videos soon, okay? But to this next video. Bye.